I'm pretty sure I'm the last person on earth to try the Viseart Sireneuse Étendu palette, but why that is on another piece of paper. Let's just be thankful that I'm finally here with that. You can, as of today, still get it on the Viseart website, and if you want to save it, I'm affiliated with Viseart, and you can save 10% with my code ELLA10. This went super viral in 2024, and a lot of people liked it, and I've seen a lot of people ranking this super high and saying that this is the best palette Viseart ever brought out, and just from a glance here at the color story, I immediately want to agree on that. When we take a look here at the swatches, the Viseart palette here does the same as Viseart always does. They swatch very, very weak, but that is okay because swatches never tell the whole story. They don't even tell half of the story. Swatches will always just tell you how does the shadow feel, what is the formulation behind that. Are the mattes more on the creamy side, so do you have to be a little bit more more careful when applying these? Or are they on the dry side and you have to layer them maybe a bit because they just go on quite sheer? Viseart eyeshadows in general are meant to be built up. They are formulated to be built up. So what I usually do in the looks, I do manipulate the way the mattes or the shimmers look on the lid by just working in layers, and that works very, very well with me. I know that there is a little bit of criticism towards the whole formula of Viseart because some people maybe expect indie brand quality because Viseart is an indie brand. But with indie brand quality, I am talking the punchiness of an Arimi eyeshadow palette, the intensity or like super high saturated colors like in Blend Bunny or so. Viseart is a pro palette or a pro brand, and they mainly do makeup for makeup artists, or that's where they at least started. They've became a little bit more available for like the public, and these eyeshadows are workhorses. These eyeshadows for me personally perform in any occasion with any weather, and when I am unsure what to wear or I'm very lazy, Viseart is the brand that I usually go to because I just know I can apply these blindfold. In this video I will create for you 3 different looks. This, by the way, is look number 2, and then you will also see, of course, after the last look, my final thoughts on this. So let's head into them. Starting off very soft with the shade Sireneuse, using this above the crease as transition color. I then tap into the shade next to it, which is French, and I just googled it. It's pronounced murmure. I hope I said that right. But I use this on the crease, starting in the outer crease and bringing it slightly inwards, but all honestly very, very soft. Very, very blown out, not too harsh. I also apply a little bit here on the outer crease and outer V area of the lid. And then I just slightly build up that shade on the outer parts for the depth. I now tap into the gold underneath that. This is Triton. And I apply this all over the lid. I slightly tap into the shade next to it, which is Luminary, and I carefully apply this on the most outer part. I'm just missing a little bit of depth, but I don't want to apply too much. It's just a hint. For liner, I will be using the Nabla Cupid's Arrow in the shade Cappuccino. It is just a very, very neutral brown, and I line my lower lash line with that. And then I pick up Murmure and smudge this on the lower lash line. And I will be also doing a little upper liner with the Pat McGrath Perma Precision Liquid Liner. This is Extreme Black Coffee. It is a darker brown. And I do line my lash line basically, but I try to keep it quite thin. And then I make the tiniest wing. For the inner corner highlight, glinting or this one up here, this is Sylve. I take Sylph and apply it surprisingly on the inner corner. And here we have the first finished look. On the lips, I'm wearing the iconic nude lip liner from Charlotte Tilbury, paired with the Icon Baby Kissing Lipstick from Charlotte Tilbury too. So this look, I think I did my duty here. I showed you that with a palette that looks quite smoky upon first glance, you can also do this. And now I'm very excited for the next two looks to go more into that direction that I usually wear on my eyes. It's not that this is a bad look, it's just not me. So look number two, I start with the shade, I forgot the name already, Mure Mure, the one in the first row. And I apply this in the crease and blend it up into the transition area. I then take a longer fine blending brush and I go into Abyss down here. And that one I place precisely into the crease for the maximum depth. That is a pretty brush though. You see that fancy handle? They're from Cleona. I didn't order them. They were, I guess, as a gift with purchase in my last order. So I take now also Abyss and connect it to the lash line. And to tone it down a little bit, I go into the shade here. This is Ethos or Ethos. And I blend this on the most outer edge. I prefer bone-colored shades or like light beigey shades like this over whites, to be honest. I actually want to do it even deeper, so I go into Oceanic. This is a black with some bluish and turquoisey sheen throughout, like shimmers, but I think this is more a sequin shade than it is actually a shimmer shade. So I take this and I now deepen that lash line part and that outer crease. So the classic outer V blend. I now go into Sireneuse down here. I think that is probably the standout shade of this palette. And I start to tap it in the center of the lid, work it outwards on top of that Oceanic shade. And I'm leaving the tiniest part of the inner lid bare because I will connect that later with the inner corner highlight. I now tap into Oceanic again and smudge this on the lower lash line completely. Now take Abyss next to it and blend it on top and down for a smoky look. For the inner corner and the rest of the lid, I take the shade up here, which is Melusine. I hope I pronounced that right. And I first apply this on the rest of the lid, blend it to the other shade, and then I apply it on the inner corner. And here we have now the second finished look, and on the lips I'm wearing the Hourglass Phantom Glossy Balm in the color Haze. This look, definitely more me, so I really like it, and I'm very excited now for look number three. For the last look, I will be doing a very simple one, and I start right here with that corner shade that is Brine or Brine. I guess it's kind of both, I don't know. But I take a brush that is flat but also can double as a blending brush, and I directly start to apply this on the lid quite roughly, and when I touch the crease I start to slightly blend this, but not too much because we're going in with a matte in a second. I did not expect that from Viseart. Usually their shades are a little bit thinner, but this, holy crap, that's banging. I then go into Abyss again, start to blend this on the outer parts, right into the crease. You know what, I'm also tapping into Brine again and blend it on top. I take the same brush that I used for the first shade, but I just flip it to the other side. And then I tap into the other corner. This is Glinting. And that one, I just dust in the center. I just want to add a little bit of a reflex here. See the difference? It is not a lot of effort that you have to put into this, but the difference is in my opinion, very, very visible. It just gives a lot of dimension. For liner, I will be taking Hindash Intra, and I line my lower waterline and also smudge it on the skin. And then I take brine or brine again and smoke that on the complete lower lash line. I then tap into Sireneuse and slightly tone down the edge a little bit. But actually that is a bit too yellow, so I go into Ethos or Ethos, whatever. For inner corner highlight, we stay with glinting here. Tap it on, but I'm not bringing it so far onto the lid or lower lash line. I really want to just highlight that dot here. And here we have now the third and finished look. And on the lips, I'm wearing the Isamaya Flat White Lip Liner from the new Core collection and the YSL lip oil in the shade Espresso Stardust that, to my own surprise, does not tingle at all. Why is everybody saying that these hurt the lips? I don't feel anything. Honestly, I think I showcased with 3 looks what this palette can do for you. You can do very, very quiet neutral looks. You can do a little bit more of that black and sultry, or you can do this more grungy, brassy brown look that I actually like. And to be honest, I think this is actually my favorite of the video. I really like that shade here, the Sireneuse, the one that is really the standout of the palette, because I just really enjoy the way Viseart is approaching duochromes. Our duochromes that we know from other indie brands are really punchy. They have the craziest shifts from, I don't know, blue to yellow, for example, like super complementary. The duochromes from Viseart, they are really just duochrome. We have 2 different pigments, 2 different shimmers mixed together, and they are not as loud, but they are very, very effectful and impactful. I have to think about it a little bit more, and I will do an updated Viseart palette ranking very, very soon, because I'm not really sure if I like this actually more than I like the Cashmere palette, which was or is currently my favorite Viseart palette when it comes to mixed with shimmers. I do want to point out though that I really like the new packaging from Viseart, that cardboard is much thicker, it is so much better, and what I really like is that you can completely remove the palette. So if you, for example, want to store the complete palette in a magnetic pen, you can do this. Or what you can do is you can make it like that and let it stand on your desk if you are, for example, a professional working makeup artist that just uses these palettes, stand out on your workspace, on the desk, whatever. I also want to point out that while in previous Viseart palettes, especially the shimmers were criticized as being too thin, too nothing, just basically satin or sequin shades even. I think in the newer palettes, Viseart definitely improved that. And especially here in the Sireneuse, that is definitely an improvement compared to, for example, Cashmere shimmers. I do love Cashmere for the whole color story and for the whole vibe, but when we just compare shimmer to shimmer here, I definitely prefer this one. Color story is very nice. Overall, when it comes to ranking in every category, quality, color story, and personal excitement, this gets a 9, so that we have a solid 9.0 with this palette. Honestly, the color story is very close, being a 10 out of 10 for what it is, because I think this is themed very well and just worked out very well. But the reason why this is only 9 out of 10 is actually this here. These 2 shades, Serenade and Ethos, I didn't need both. One would have been enough, and I think one could have been easily replaced with a different matte. Maybe something... I don't know, maybe something gray toned, something in the direction of the Lisa Aldrich French gray shade. I think that would have fit here the vibe very well. or the Mauve Decade shade from the Lisa Aldridge Myth palette. I just have these in mind because I recently used them for other looks. So something in that direction would have been so much better than Sireneuse, actually. I think this is the shade that bothers me the most. But other than that, very, very well done here. So as I said, I am affiliated with Viseart, and if you want to test this or any of the other great products like the Grande Pro 1X, I can highly recommend. This has been such a workhorse for me for over 2 years now, and I just adore this palette. You can save 10% with my code ELLA10. This palette I didn't get in PR, I bought it myself, but every now and then I do get PR from Viseart, so just to let you know, but I will always tell you that. You know that, I already said that in the intro. I want to, of course, also know your thoughts down below. I know a lot of you have already tried this palette from conversations that we had, but do you still love this now half a year later? Let me know what you think. Let me know if you haven't tried this yet, what you think of this palette, and just in general, share your thoughts on this palette. I would love to see that. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to subscribe to don't miss out any of the other upcoming videos, and I'll see you soon.